Hi, you guys. I'm going to wait for YouTube to gather me some people on here. Okay, as you log on here, go ahead and tell me if you can hear me clearly because I was having some trouble with my sound earlier. So if you're able to hear me, if you can type in the comments section. By the way, Super Chats is on, so donations are accepted. But go ahead and tell me as I kick my shoes off. Okay. All right, great. I'm going to grab some water. And I'm going to wait for you guys to get on here. Let me grab some water real quick. I'm going to talk about a few things, and I'm not going to talk about the type of secret societies that you guys think I am. But I am going to talk about a few things, and I want to start by telling a little story. So I grew up in Ohio, in a really small town, Dayton, Ohio, Vandalia, Ohio, very small. And I grew up, I had two older sisters, and my mom raised us. My parents got divorced when I was 3, and my parents got along well after they divorced. We used to spend the weekends. That's nice, your bird whisper, lovely. We used to spend the weekends with my dad, and everybody called him Mike. His name was Larry Michael. And so we used to spend the weekends with my dad, Mike, and we would spend the week with my mom. And my mom had significantly less than my father. You know, we lived in a nice house. It was in a great area, and we went to great schools. But my dad lived in a really nice house. And when I was around 10, my dad got killed in a car accident. And so then, you know, that was over. But I ended up never having like daddy issues because my mom never had men in and out of the house ever. But she met someone and she ended up like dating him for like 16 years. So he was kind of like a parental figure to me, and he was really successful. So I never went without. I never struggled. I think my sisters probably saw a little bit different life than I did. But my mom, when she met her kind of partner of 16 years, I guess you would say, or however many years they were together, she would travel with him. They would go to Vegas and stuff like that. And I spent a lot of time with my grandma. And my grandma, her name was LaGolda. Everybody called her Goldie. Everybody loved my grandma. Everyone loved her. She was this adorable little lady that was older and had gray, silver, curly hair. She would get her perms, and she grew all her own food. She had 3 luscious gardens and even like a hill of wildflowers that she probably planted those too. But my grandma had a green thumb. She made everything from scratch. All our food was made from scratch. And I learned a lot from my grandma. I learned a lot. I learned how to make a pie crust. I learned how to grow your own food. I learned that you should walk to the grocery store. I learned how to basically live off food you grow yourself. I learned how to make applesauce, put Red Hots in it. I learned how to judge people like in a really good way. Like, she was very non-judgmental, but she knew who was good and who was bad. She was a Leo. And I would say I was probably closest to my grandma because I spent the most time with her because I was the youngest grandchild. She had great grandchildren after, but I was the youngest as far as the grandchildren go. And I learned so much off of her. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't feel her in my presence. I get teared up because I love her so much. And the day she passed was September 11th. It was years after the 9/11 event. But my mom said something and it sticks out, and it's so very true. She said, well, she picked a memorable day, and she would pick a memorable day. Hang on, you guys. Someone's spraying outside in the yard. And I don't like someone spraying. Hang on. Thanks. Oh, that was interesting. So apparently everybody in my town is smelling gas. The guy said it's a red tide and they don't know the difference. And I said, well, dumbasses. It looked like he was spraying. It was actually a machine to check for gas. So I had to go and first act like a tyrant and ask him if he was spraying. And once he assured me he wasn't spraying pesticides, because I cannot stand pesticides, I let him off the hook, and now he's doing his gas check thing. Anyway, sorry, I had to. What I wanted to say is this. You know, we're going through this coronavirus, this lockdown thing, and I'm in seventh heaven. I mean, things are tough because of other things going on in my life that have nothing to do with this, but I have an herb garden. I grow aloe at the perimeter of my house that I blend with coconut water every morning. It's so soothing to the digestive system. I have a rosemary bush, mint covering the ground and part of my ground. So hold on one second. Good night, night. Good night, night. Go. Hey, come here. No. 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 Anyway, so, and I grow my own roses. I just did a podcast about, I'm going to have to put one of them. Come here. No. Thank you. Thank you. And I just did a blog post on AndreaCox.com about, how you can eat edible roses, things like that. So I feel like a lot of people, nice, you're life path number 9, so am I. I feel like a lot of people are struggling because they need to get back to basics. And this is stuff I've been saying for years, and I don't want to say I told you so, but you need to learn to grow your own food, because the cost of food is going to continue to go up and up and up. And it kills me in the grocery stores that all the meat and the chicken is sold off the shelves, which is full of disease. And the fruits and vegetables, the garlic, the onions that are good for the immune system are not. So there is a bullshit meter that all of you need to it should be going off in you right now. But I want to talk about something else. I've been vegan for 19 years, and I will tell you that all disease stems from eating animals. Aging, disease, it's cellular degeneration on the body when we eat animals. When you eat something that is dead and decomposing, you yourself, you die. You're eating rot, you're going to rot. We are what we eat. If you eat rose petals and greens and fresh fruit and avocados, you're going to smell like a rose, look like a peach, you know? So it's common sense, right? And this is something I learned 19 years ago, and I couldn't understand why other people didn't understand it. Now, my grandmother was not vegan, but she would have been very proud of my food. She would have been very proud. She would have really loved my food. I know she would have. She wouldn't have been too proud about the tarot, but she would have loved my food. She was very religious. And hold on one second. Okay, come on. Come on, wanna go outside? Come on. Come on. Yes, it's the meter guy. Stop. Come here. Stop. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Sorry, he's barking at the meter guy. Anyway, I want to talk about animals, okay, and the abuse of animals. And I want to tell you about a great group that I follow on Instagram. I'm Raw Chef Andrea on Instagram, but I follow, they're called Animal Hope and Wellness. And I want to talk about a secret society that, well, vegetarian and vegan are very different, my friend, and don't get me started. Vegetarian, you're still attributing to the dairy industry, which is the most corrupt, sick, abusive industry there is. If you're drinking milk, eating cheese, that's nil and void in my book. But that's, go over to Andrea Cox TV for that. But I commend you for at least being vegetarian. So I grew up with animals, a lot of animals. My dad had a frickin' wolf. We called him Wolf. We called him Wolfie. My mom, we had a Cocker Spaniel named Duke. We had a poodle named Gidget. We had a sheep herding dog named Muffin. We had a Chinese Shar-Pei named Bailey. We had a cat named Phoebe Herm that lived to be 19 years old. We had a sucker fish that lived to be 35. I kid you not. My sister just called us a few years ago and it passed. We had, oh my gosh, we've had so many animals. My sister had a dog, bless her heart. That was so hard bless her heart. But I've always had animals. I had a cocker named Sammy as soon as I moved out. I've always had animals. I had a cat named Roy Boy and another cat named Cypress. I'm allergic to health for cats. My mom once I had a hamster named Louise. I overfed her, long story short. My mom rescued a bunny one time and fed it through a test tube. So my mom loved animals. My mother also very much loved, sorry, let me move the candle over here. My mother also very much loved elderly. She took care of my grandma. Anyone who had a mental disability, anyone who suffered mentally. We had a next door neighbor named Jenny who was she had mental retardation, and she was my best friend. And my mom explained to me why it was so important to make her my best friend. So my mom's admiration she always rooted for the underdog. It was animals, the elderly, and, anyone with a mental disability, she said, were God's special children. God's special children. They are God's special children. Always, always, always. There's nothing wrong with them. They're God's special children. And I feel like I have those traits of my mother. Now, my mother also can be a real hard ass at 5'4". She can be a real beast when she needed to. And so I feel like I have a lot of my grandmother and my mom's traits. Well, here's where we get into this society, and I'm going to call it the vegan society. And there's vegans like me who put themselves out there publicly and love to rescue animals. You guys know I've rescued dogs and use certain parts of my social media to place dogs in homes just on the DL and love animals. And there is a vegan society that loves animals so much that if you abuse animals, they're going to get you. And I'm going to tell you a few examples of that. And this is why, look, you shouldn't abuse animals to begin with, okay? But if you do, nowadays, they're going to get you. I love this Animal Hope and Wellness on Instagram. They show everything from rescued dogs to rescue farm animals to, but they also show stories of abuse, and they show some graphic things. And if you want some inspiration to go vegan, you can follow The Save Movement on Instagram. The Save Movement. The Save Movement. Cats are wonderful. They are wonderful, and I've rescued several. I'm allergic to them to hell, but I also feed one out back and have taken it to the vet before. My eyes swell up for days, but they are wonderful. So are dogs. So are cows. Cows are sacred. The Hindus see cows as sacred for a reason. There's a reason I haven't eaten meat for 20 years, you guys, okay? There's several reasons, but mostly it's because I love animals. But I want to tell you something. So over the past month, I have watched Animal Hope and Wellness that I love. And they shared, the first story they shared was a guy who, I don't even want to tell you what he did to this dog, this poor dog that ended up dead. He basically was, it was horrible. I can't even repeat what he did. It was horrible. So Animal Hope and Wellness put out on their channel, they said, okay, we don't condone street violence, but if anyone knows who this person is, please take precautionary measures and report him to the authorities. Well, a couple vegans, you know, we go on and we tag hashtag vegan, hashtag vegans on Instagram, hashtag vegan for the animals, blah, blah, blah. Well, within 24 hours, they show pictures that, someone got a hold of this guy. Now, the guy is fine, okay? But a lot of what he did to that dog got done to him. Now, I do not condone violence. But if you abuse an animal, if you abuse a child, if you abuse someone with a mental disability, you better watch your ass. Because people do not like that. They don't support it. It's disgusting. So then a couple weeks later, they shared, like a week later, they shared a dog that this Mercedes kept backing up over and over, knowing it was there. And this was in California, up past LA. I can't think of where it was. I can't think of where it was. But myself and several others, so Animal Hope and Wellness shared this, myself and several others called that county's police station. And that guy's being prosecuted. He was brought in, his car impounded, he's being prosecuted. He literally backed over a dog like several times. It was horrible. So a lot of people are on the up and up that animals are, they're just like people. They feel. All animals feel. Cows feel. Pigs feel. Dogs feel. Cats feel. Birds feel. Mice feel. Raccoons feel. So there is never a reason to abuse an animal. And guess what? There's never a reason to put one on your dinner plate, folks. There's just not. I'm sorry, there's not. All the nutrients you need, have you, usually I show myself, have you seen me? Have you seen my hair? Have you seen my skin? All the nutrients you need, the micronutrients, the nutrients is in plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. You don't need all this crap. You don't. And I know what you're thinking. Let me take a drink of water. Well, I don't know what you're thinking, but let me. A lot of you are probably thinking, what's too expensive to be vegan? It's not. It's not. It's too expensive not to be vegan because of your health. It's too expensive not to be, hey, one of my clients, how are you? Web Team Management, how are you? Fist bump, I thought about you today. It's too expensive not to be vegan. So the reason I did this video basically is to tell you to, you know, even if you start in a window box garden, just growing some herbs in a pot in your apartment, like I started doing when I was like 18 and moved out. Start growing some food. My beautiful sister lives in Arizona and she has lemon trees and I think tangerine trees or something. I was freaking out when I was there last time. I'm like, can you grab me a bucket? Please? This will last me a month. Like, yay! I get excited when I see a lemon tree. There's a fig tree. My neighbor has a fig tree, and in fig season, I go and knock on their door. She's like, oh yeah, take them. They'll just fall on the ground. I'm like, I will, thank you. I get so excited. I'm like, there's a fig tree. There's fig trees for a reason. We need to grow them and eat them and stop slaughtering animals and causing all this disease. There's very little difference in a wet market in China and a slaughterhouse. It's about that. None. No difference. No difference. Vegetarian is different than vegan, my friend. Vegetarian is different than vegan, Jason. Jason Bates just said that. Because when we still support the dairy industry by drinking milk and eating cheese, vegetarian, vegans don't eat cheese, they don't eat animals, they don't eat fish, they don't do any of that. Then we're still supporting one of the shadiest industries out there, right? I'm telling you guys, I don't have a single TV up in here. 5 bedrooms, not one TV. Not one TV. I don't watch the news. I spend at least an hour and a half out in the sun. That's why my little skinny ass arms are burnt all the time. I eat fruits and vegetables. I grow aloe. I grow my herbs. I grow some vegetables. I have neighbors that have fruit trees that they know me in the neighborhood. You know, they know when I walk around with my basket, Andrea needs her fruit for the week. I feel very blessed because my grandma would have loved this. She would have been like, yeah, she is like, yay. And so if the only reason I started this channel, you know, doing the tarot because I was healing my heart and going through my stuff and helping other women heal and realize they were in, you know, shit shows and blah, blah, blah. If the only reason was to convert a bunch of you to go vegan, maybe you're all, I don't know if you know or not, my other channel, Andrea Cox TV, it's a vegan channel. There's over 600 recipes over there. If that, then I am happy. I am happy because y'all need to stop eating animals. I'm sorry, I don't want to sit up here and preach. I once ate 6 meals a day. There was protein at every meal when I was a fitness model years ago. And then one day I was like, this isn't the way. I just know it. One day the world's going to go vegan. And I'm going to tell you, we are headed that way because people know. I was just on a walk. This is another thing. This is how I know I have my mom in me a little too much. I have a neighbor that is he's like 79 years old. He's a retired Navy guy. And I really kind of don't want to live here anymore. I've been here 7 years. This is a beautiful house. People walk in. I had a friend over last night from Laguna Beach, and he's like, wow, your house is really pretty. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of over it. It's, there's a lot of things broken. I'm a girl. I don't fix anything, and I have, there's a plethora of people that'll step in and fix things, but I prefer to kind of, there's no making friends with men and I. It's either it's men seem to not, I have to put up really strong boundaries. So I'm kind of over it. And this is how you know you have your mom in you. So one of the reasons I haven't moved is, right now we're in a pandemic and all this economical shit's kind of, blown over, but is because of that guy next door. I always wonder I worry about him. His kids drop off food and leave it at the curb and shit. And I'm just like, man, that's cold as fuck. So I check on him. And he's got a dog that he rescued named Babe. It's a German Shepherd. And every morning I walk out and the dogs bark at each other through the fence. And I'm like, hi, Babe. Hi, Babe. Pet Babe's little head. And the guy is, it's like, he's real funny. He's real kind of old man perverted-ish, very, but I feel bad for him. He's a nice guy and he served our country. And I'm afraid if I move, are his kids going to leave his groceries at the corner? You know what I mean? It makes me feel sad in my heart. He's a nice guy. And so I guess what I'm trying to say here is I think this coronavirus, and this shutdown and these masks, people wearing masks on a walk. We just saw, a person wearing a mask on a walk, open air. There's 2 people on the street and this woman's walking in a mask, and it's fine, that taking extra precautionary measures, that's great. I understand. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is I think that this happened so we're all meant to get back to basics. We're all meant to start growing our own food, adopt an animal. Adopt an animal. If you have the means and the know-how and you can get an animal some good organic, food, rescue it. Oh, I'm glad you adopted a dog. I know when we were working together, you were thinking about adopting one. I hope yay. Awesome, fist bump, good for you. So, yay, feed it organic. Remember what we talked about. So, good for you, Jason Bates. Good for you. Good for you. That's awesome. And respect your elders. That guy next door, the 79-year-old, the retired vet, he has probably dropped in the 7 years I've lived here about 2,000 inappropriate comments to me, and they roll off my back. You know why? Because he's 79 and he served our country. Sometimes you gotta let things roll. And as far as, you know, when you see people that you see as less than you, people on the street, things like that, don't treat them as less than. Someone said they're a life path number 9 in here, so am I. And the gift of being a life path number 9, and people usually don't see this in us, but this is the gift. We see everyone as equal, from the beggar on the street to the rich man to the, that's why we piss so many people off. We are not impressed with clout, status, fame, fortune, any of that. Doesn't impress. What's that Shania Twain song? That don't impress me much. Doesn't impress me at all. So treat people the same. Treat people the same. And treat animals how you would want to be treated. My animals are so spoiled, they need haircuts. But they are so spoiled. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Would not have it any other way. And if you have the ability to rescue an animal, you can feed it some good organic food, do it. My dogs cost me $80 a week. They eat Northwest Naturals, they're pescatarian, and they drink raw goat milk fermented that I make into kefir, and they're so spoiled, and they have these little vegan treats. And I want more animals. A house full of them. I love animals. And that's how it should be. That's why I never understood like people who like couldn't have kids and they pay all this money for fertility drugs. Oh God, I hope I don't piss anyone off. But if I do, oh well, it wouldn't be the first time. And I'm like, my God, why you want to do that? Just go and adopt some. There's so many out there that need homes. Jesus, you can have a rainbow at the dinner table. I love that your boxer dog goes everywhere with you. And boxers are amazing. I love their bow-legged little asses. They're amazing. But, you know, if you see a homeless dog on the street, pick it up. Drop it off at a vet. You know? Go slow with it. Don't chase it down. Take some food. Lay it on the ground in front of it. Watch the karma that comes back for that. I swear, my little dog Roger, total spirit animal. My dog Lewis, spirit animal. They're the best decisions of my life. So that's it and that's all, guys. I have a client call, so I'm going to go now. But I love you. Please love yourselves. And like this video, share it. Thank you for subscribing, by the way. Love you too, my friend. I'm glad you adopted a dog since the last time we talked. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell notification. And all the extended readings are uploading right now. All the April extendeds are up. Time is fluid, so the Aprils are still good. And what else? Oh, the manifesting membership. The links are in the description box below every video. I just uploaded a video on how to make money during the pandemic for each of the 12 zodiac signs. It's an hour-long video. That's back there. And I love you. And that's it. Okay? And this is Fred. My friend Tony brought him to me. He was made in Thailand, and I saw him online, and I told Tony to get him 2 years ago. I said, go pick that up. That's good money, Juju. And he brought him to me last night. Yeah, well, I love you guys. Okay, bye. Be well. Good night. Oh, thank you for being you, and thank you for allowing me to be me. That's a place I like to be. I won't be anyone else. Be well.